with which we began these sessions is to provide the youth with inner strength and spiritual outlook that can help them in navigating through life. So gratitude to Sri Aurobindo and the mother for guiding us into making this whole program successful so far. And definitely we will continue with these talks also for the coming future. Gratitude and love to all of you who have joined this beautiful journey of inner progress. So today's speaker for the day is Lakshmi Jyothi. Let me give you a brief introduction about her. Lakshmi Jyothi belongs to the first batch of masters in tourism administration in the country, graduating from Pondicherry University. She held senior positions in a wide spectrum of tourism segments, straddling both public and private sectors. She was the Chief Training Officer, Tourism and Hospitality Training Center, Andhra Pradesh Tourism, in which capacity she undertook several innovative measures in tourism education. She organized several workshops and conferences and has contributed many articles. Ever since her college days, she has been passionate about understanding the inner spiritual dimensions of human nature and life in general, and their relevance and application to the changing times of the contemporary world. She endeavors to achieve through the vision and guidance of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. We are very happy to have you with us, Lakshmi Ji. So in today's topic, we will explore the relation between marriage and inner progress. The session will focus on addressing the following questions. Is it possible to get married and yet progress spiritually? What are the secrets to a successful marriage? What are the practical ways in which we can enrich an intimate relationship? With these questions, I now invite Lakshmi Ji to take over the session.
You're on mute.
Yeah. So good evening and namaste. Thank you, Harshita.
Jyothi, again you have gone on mute. Can you please unmute?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good evening, everybody, once again. And thanks to Harshita for making my introduction sound so good. It's always a joy to speak to youngsters. This is AuroYouth. I can almost feel that fresh, raw energy, raring to go, wanting to take the bull by the horns. Yes, of course, we should do it, isn't it? I have a lot of respect for millennials, especially the generation after 1990, the kids. Well, for us, they are kids who were born from 1919 afterwards. I respect them because of their non-conformity. I respect them because they question a lot. Sri Aurobindo said, we have lost our intellectual freedom. We stopped questioning. Somebody says, your father did it, your grandfather did it, you do it, we did it. Somebody says, there in the scriptures, you do it, we did it. So that's coming back. And it is the millennials, it's this younger generation which has started the questioning. And I also respect them because they are destroying all the systems. They are destroying all the institutions. It is the Tandava of the Shiva. So what is it? After this destruction, why is this happening? These systems are being rebuilt on a more truer foundation, on a vaster consciousness, on a more towards a more exalted vision. And I have no doubt it is once again this generation which will contribute for that rebuilding, the new creation which is going to take place, where all these systems will be rebuilt on a vaster, deeper platform. I told a friend that I'm coming here to give a talk on marriage. My friend said, marriage, what is there to talk about it? It is a dwindling institution. That's what she said. So you all think it is a dwindling institution? Just now I said the systems are being broken down because there's a new creation which is going to come up. That's what I believe. I believe the system of marriage which has been brought down, it is on the anvil, it is at the threshold for a newer system that's being built up. How many of you all agree with me? Can we have a poll here and see how many of you think that marriage is a system which is not required anymore? It is dwindling. And how many of you think that this is a system which has to be worked upon, which has to be rebuilt on a more truer foundation? Can I have a look at the polls, please?
Yes, we started the poll.
I'm sorry, but I'm not able to look at the poll. Can somebody give me the figures, like how many for A and how many for B?
Yeah, so far 78% of the people said that a system that has to be rebuilt on a deeper foundation. 80% almost now.
Fantastic. So you all are with me. You know,
We just wait for a minute
someone
for others also to
pouring
finish.
it.
Yeah.
Any more adding to it?
It's the same as of now. 80-20.
So you see, there's lots of positive energy. So a lot of us do believe the system still has some future. Only thing is it needs to be a little bit of rehashing done. So shall we proceed?
Yes. I'm ending the poll.
All right. You know, 25 years back, when I just started nurturing this spiritual aspiration, something like that, I had the same doubt. Should I get married or should I not? And I remember I went to a very respectable senior person in the ashram who, of course, shifted with his family and settled in the ashram. I had a lot of respect for him. And I went and asked him, "Sir, what do you say? What do you think I should do?" You know what he said? He said, "Marriage is like a Delhi laddu." Did anybody taste the Delhi laddu? I didn't taste it. He said, when it is there in the shop, you earn to have it. You can't resist. You need to have it. But when you have it, what happens? You get a stomachache. That's what he said. And I guess I was not convinced because I went to my grandfather. I asked him, he was also a sadhak. I asked him, what do you say? He said, well, if you don't get married, nature, when you suppress the nature, or rather when you ignore the nature, it comes back with vengeance. So you see, here is a gentleman who said, if you get married, you will get a stomachache. And there's someone else who says, if you don't get married, it'll wreak havoc. It'll come back with vengeance. What do we do? What is the course we take? Let us actually look a little bit at the history of this institution. A few decades back, maybe 4 or 5 decades back, there was something called joint family system. It's something very beautiful. Joint family system was the one which preserved our cultural ethos from ages back. All the cultural, spiritual aspirations which are there in our culture, this joint family system. I think we should really give it to the genius of our rishis who brought that system. They are the ones who passed it on from generation to generation. But then what happened? Winds blew from the west, and the system started crumbling. Flaws crept into it. Why do flaws creep into a system? Because the system has lost the spirit within. And what is happening? We are just holding to the external scaffolding. It has lost its meaning. What happened in the joint family system? It started becoming more patriarchal. So it is the head of the family who is standing on the top, who is taking the decisions, and the other said, "Arey, bade bhaiya, we have to follow him. He says it." So what is happening to the individuality of these people? Or on the other way, it is the head of the family who takes in all the responsibility, and the others are having an easy life. So somewhere, the individual growth started getting suffocated, and it cracked up. From the joint family, what happened? We came to the nuclear family. What happened in the nuclear family? Then again, well, you had the women coming out, you have the women getting educated. Now you didn't have the parents to guide you, so clashes started even there. They were your problems. The woman says, now I'm equally educated, let's do this. The man says, no, I was told this is correct. Then what happened? The system started breaking. Then comes the individual standing tall. He says, it's I have my likes and dislikes. It is my freedom which is important. It is the individual. Sri Aurobindo uses the word religion of humanity. It's the human life which has become important. It's the freedom that every human being should be given the opportunity to do what he wants. It is this, reflection on life. You cannot suffocate the individual. And then from there, after this individual says, it's me, it's I, it's the ego. Then what happened? Sri Aurobindo said that we are moving towards what is called a subjective age. What is the subjective age? Deep within the ego, mind you, the ego is also subjective. Ego is also within, something that is within, isn't it? It is also very subjective. So Sri Aurobindo here differentiates. He says false subjectivity and true subjectivity. False subjectivity, there is another word which you use, which is called the desire soul. And below, deeper than that, somewhere human beings started realizing when this age of individualism came. No, it's not only that. Now I have the freedom to do what I want, but I'm still not happy. Why? The truth is something deeper. Below that ego, there is that spark. Call it psychic, call it soul, call it a deeper consciousness or a conscience, whatever you call it. There is beyond this ego, there is. So that is the subjective age which we are all moving towards. And I'm sure as millennials, as a younger generation, you agree with me. Everybody today is talking about the inner progress. Look within for solutions. That's where you have the lasting solutions. Look within. If the system is there, look within and find out if the system is helping you to grow. Others break it and do what? Build it again. Build a new system which is based on that inner truth. So with that, friends, let us make a beginning. So the title of this talk is Marriage and Inner Progress. Can I please go for the PPT?
Sure, yeah.
Yes, marriage and inner progress. The second page, please, the next one. Yes, what is inner progress? Now we are all convinced, yes, it is your inner progress which is going to give a lasting solution. And it's from there I want to build a new system. We're all convinced. I hope you all are with me in that. But what is this inner progress? It is something so subjective. Your emotions, your thoughts. What is progress? Okay, you have somebody. He's a manager today. He will become a general manager tomorrow. Maybe he'll become a big corporate hunch. That is a progress which you can see. Today you're living in a rented apartment. Tomorrow you buy an apartment. Then in bungalow. So that is a progress you can see. What is this inner progress? These emotions, these feelings which we are all made of it. How do we study? There is a self-observation. Every time we make a study of what are our own feelings. And are we justified in these feelings? You're angry with somebody. Can we just step back and study, is my anger justified? Generally, what happens when you become angry? We are told, count from 1 to 10. What happens when you count from 1 to 10? Generally, that anger is ignored or that anger is suppressed. But I do not think you've really gotten rid of the anger. You'll have to someday sit and analyze, self-observation and analysis. That why? Go to the root and find out, why is this person making me angry? And when you find out the root, you're able to pull it out and say, no, He had his own reason for being different or something. I should overcome these negative feelings and move towards something positive. So this kind of a self-observation and analysis, how do we know whether what is correct or wrong? Now we see Bhagavad Gita's detachment. What do we mean by detachment? Oh, coronavirus, let's be detached. Please, social distancing. Don't talk to me. I'm doing yoga. I'm detached. Is that the detachment we are talking about? What is that detachment? Samatha, equanimity. What is equanimity? Somebody comes and hits somebody, something very nasty happening before our eyes. We say, oh, it's equanimity. I'm not going to go. Is that the equanimity we are aiming at? What is the true essence? I'm not going to the depths of all these words. That is not relevant here. That will be, become another lecture. But what I'm saying is we need to keep looking into ourselves. And for that, one source is Swadhyaya. The next point you find on the PPT, the Swadhyaya, self-study, and read the Shastra. Sri Aurobindo says for yoga, there are 4 aids. He says if you want to do yoga, there are 4 aids. And what is the first one? Shastra. First know, understand, read. Read Swami Vivekananda, read Ramakrishna, read Ramana, read Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Whoever you think is able to explain to all these processes which are happening in you. And ultimately, whatever you read, it should reflect your own situation. That is the Swadhyaya. You read and it is a self-study. You also start looking within to understand these terms. You know why this is so relevant for marriage? Number one, the person who has really done a thorough self-analysis is the person who can understand the other person. So before you invite another person into your own life, please take some time. Your mom comes and says, Beta or Beti, time, get married. Say, excuse me, mom, give me time. Take a year off, take a month off, whatever, and do some analysis. Where am I? What is my life journey? Where am I going? What is that vision of my own life? We're all born with a dream in our hearts. What is the dream you want to, actualize in your life? What is your swabhava? We're all different. God, the beauty of God is this infinite multiplicity. We're all beautifully different. This diversity, is the basis of the creation. We're all beautifully different. So that's what is my swabhava. Am I somebody who's very knowledge oriented? Am I an artist? If I'm an artist, I would like my spouse to accept my sensibilities. If I'm very knowledge oriented, I would like to read, I would like to explore ideas. I would like my spouse, isn't it? So first, we'll have to know our own selves. And this self-awareness, ultimately, when you become conscious of these moments, it leads to self-mastery. What happens? The Swadharma, Swabhava is your nature. What is Swadharma? It is your own law. What is right for me may not be right for you. But based upon my own experiences, my own knowledge, my own samskaras, which may be coming even from the subconscious or whatever, I have my own dharma. For me, this is right. This is wrong. I'm very clear. When I have that, consciousness, I can become a master. When I have this mastery over life, when there is another person coming into my life and there is a friction created over there, I know how to understand from where this friction is coming. And I know how to, as a master of my own self, I know how to control it. There is another concept which is Swarat and Samrat. Somebody who can control themselves, are also the ones who can be good leaders, who can also lead the other people. Isn't it? So when you know your Swadharma, what happens? You have found your center of reference within you. We all have a center of reference. Maybe we are not conscious about it. When we have to take a decision, what do? We go to the center of reference and say, okay, what do I do? Is this right or is this wrong? We are all within our own hearts. We go back to the center, which should be rather based on our Swadharma, isn't it? So can we go to the next slide? Hard. Then comes the question. Yes, I'm so aware of my inner progress. I know where I'm reaching, where I want to go. What's the need for me to get married? I'm so wonderfully settled within my own vision. So, friends, can I have some answers from you? Why do you, how many of you really think, I need to get married? If so, it should be very particular to you. Don't give me general replies as to why you think somebody should get married. Why you think you would like to get married? companionship, okay, to take forward the generation. Just two of you. I can see only two answers here. Okay, for support, for love. All right. To have someone whom I can progressively love as truly as I can. So beautiful. All right. For exchange of thoughts. Wonderful. Okay. Yes, to have a helping hand towards spiritual journey, helping, okay, towards spiritual journey. Fine. Okay. Okay, let's move on. You know, shall we move on? Yeah, I've given here certain, reasons which I felt. First thing is convenience. Yes, marriage takes care of certain needs. It is a system evolved pretty almost from the Vedic times, and there were some reasons for evolving this system. There's nothing wrong about it. There are some, needs and some certain, even wants, certain support system which is required for the human beings, and that marriage provides the setup. And you marry for that. In fact, when mother, every time I say the mother, I'm referring to the mother of Sri Aurobindo ashram. I'm taking it so that I can give you an example. Examples make us understand things better, don't they? So this, mother, when she created the ashram, she said she wanted a system which took care of the basic needs, the physical needs, so they didn't have to work for a livelihood and they can concentrate completely on their inner growth. So there is a system of convenience. There are certain things which are taken care of because of marriage. You want somebody to, maybe you're working and you have an elderly person, somebody at home need to be taken. Maybe you have a companion who's willing to share that responsibility, or you faced a setback in life. You want somebody to hold on to this, a companion, who's with you. That is the setup which the system has, devised, and we go with it. That's one thing. Second thing is love. Well, once again, love has several ranges. I'm not referring to the true love here. True love can only be had, believe me, with the divine. And how do we experience the true love? One example I give is the bhakti, we experience in our hearts. You have a Ishta Devata, some of you at least. What happens when you look at the idol of your Ishta Devata? What happens when you listen to the Meera Bhajan? Tears flow out of you. That's the true love which flows, the attraction towards the divine consciousness. But that is not necessarily what we experience with another person. But still, you may have come across somebody, okay, this person and I. There are a lot of things which are compatible, and you have some feelings. I've developed some feelings for her. It may be emotional. In the emotions, it may be from a higher emotion, or it may just be from a mental plane that, okay, our thoughts are coming together. I'll be happy, and you get married. That could be one reason. Now we'll come to the other reason. Here, there's the word interspace, which was used by Sri Aurobindo. I told you in the beginning, my grandfather, he told me, nature when suppressed, it comes back with vengeance. Here I am. I know that spirituality, the spiritual progress, the ultimate, but then I'm not yet there. I still want to have certain experiences in life. I still want to undergo certain, do certain experience, certain things in my life. So from here to there, where I have an undivided call to devote every part of my life, every part of me only to the divine. It's a progression. It is a progression. And what do you do then? That is, in that system, you get married, because married also is a security. You can call it the safety net within which you have a companion, you have a setup where you do experience, you're not suppressing your desires, but you are experiencing your desires. But through that, you also make sure that you keep your goals, you don't loosen your goals. So this marriage, in this case, it becomes a process of purification. There is a goal which is spiritual towards which you're moving, but here you still have some, desires which you need to overcome. This coming to desires, there's a little bit of a psychological process. When desires are there, one thing is, If it is very strong, you just go and live it out. You go and, take out, you experience the desire, you achieve it. Okay. And then what happens when you achieve it? There is a probability that you will come out of it. You have experienced it and you realize, oh, okay, there's not much about it, and come out of it. But there is also the probability that you will get into your, maybe you can call it like the daily laddu. You eat one and then you think, I feel like having it again. Like, one more, just one more, just one more. You may get into a loop of these desires. Okay, here I can give you one example. I do not know how many of you saw the movie Samsara. It's an English movie. In that, there is this Buddhist monk. He went and sat in the caves. He had a realization. You can see it on his faces. When he came out of the cave and came to the monastery, everybody celebrated. Here is he. He has, achieved so much. Come, they take him back into the monastery. Then what happened? He was undergoing the routine, and one day he went out and he saw there was some festivity going on. And there's a woman he saw, and he fell in love with her. Then what happened? He started running after the woman. All this monastery and all, they took a backseat. He married the woman. And the woman was very happy. Oh, here is a Buddhist monk who wants to marry me. But then somewhere she got, she was not happy. She got disillusioned. What is this man? He's not the monk I thought. Then she leaves him. And after she leaves him, he starts running after prostitute. And it's only towards the end of the film, when he's really touched the nadir, he realizes, what have I done? What happened to all my spiritual attainment? He realizes that. So you see, these desires, something, when you suppress them, they can be they can get very nasty with you. But instead of suppressing, what can you do? You can transform them. Yeah, you try to live it out, and then you tell yourself and come out of it, or you try to transform the desire. Do you know, how do you do that? You either do it through your mental willpower, or there is a psychic, deeper sense of divinity to which you offer it and you do it. When that is not possible, I think this marriage works out as a wonderful system where you do, in your own way, indulge in these desires. You want to have a successful career, you want to earn money, you want to have a man or woman in your life. So all this, at the same time, you have a system where you can also slowly, keep to your spiritual aspirations, slowly try and outgrow all these things. Now I've given the other word called touchstone. The same monk story you can take. When you are married, you are in the field, you are in the center of action. If you can succeed there, instead of somewhere in a cave or Himalayas, then your spirituality would have reached an integrality. Your lower nature, to transform your lower nature, perhaps this is the best system. This is one of the excellent systems you have with you. Within the system, you have a wife, you have children, you have your in-laws, whatever. Every side you have these challenges, and every time you face this challenge, it's from your inside out. You'll have to grow. And that becomes a barometer to your own spiritual growth. Socrates, one of the first philosophers, the Greek philosophers, is this very genial person, very warm, very good. His philosophy is a moral philosophy based on being good to everyone, being kind and good to everybody. He had illustrious disciples. Plato was his disciple. They wrote so much about him. And his wife, one of the bitchy women you ever found in the city. She was harassing. She was very ill-tempered, much younger than him. And the disciples, the people in the town, they asked him, Arama, you're such a nice person. It's so nice to talk to. Why did you get married to this woman? Socrates smiled. He said, it's precisely because I'm telling you, preaching you what is goodness and kindness. And if I can be kind to a person like this, then, the fact that I'm preaching you to be kind and good has some justification to it. Otherwise, it's only a philosophy which has no basis. So he says, so for him, that is a touchstone. Here, we are always kind to a kind person. Somebody is nice to us, we are nice to us. But can you be kind? Can you give that unconditional love? The other person may be doubting you, may not be very nice, but can you still go on loving that person? Ultimately, because your pure love can bring it as positive change. Can we do that? Marriage, once again, can be an institution which can help you in this. Like the case of the Socrates. Then I gave it as collective yoga. These days when you talk about yoga, long back, millennium back, we had Adi Shankaracharya who said, please give up samsara, wear your ochre robe, take to, go join some ashramas, abandon life. Why? But now it is more. That is not the yoga dharma. Here we are talking about divinizing the very life. Sri Aurobindo's magnum opus is called Life Divine. He did not call it divine life. He said life has to become divinized. And when you leave that life and come somewhere else, what is the big deal? You have to, whatever, as a husband, as a father, as a mother, as a corporate person, can you bring all these things and divinize them, uplift them to a level where they, become, they reflect your inner progress? For all these things where you find, where the new systems have built up from this innocence, can we do that? That is the collective yoga. Ultimately, you may want to be all alone. Oh, no responsibilities. And it's even, of course, even when you stay, I'm sure you'll have your set of problems when you're on the spiritual path. There may be. But, we believe in unity, isn't it? We call about human unity. Ultimately, it is there is an individual yoga you're developing. There is also the collectivity. And when you marry, you are there right in the thick of the heart. When Krishna said Arjuna, he didn't take him to a cave. He didn't take him to Himalayas. Okay, Arjuna, now it's so quiet. Let's talk about some philosophy. Come. No, he is there in the thick of the battle. He said, come now, shoot, who, fight, kill, who? Walk, Kitan, kill. We do the action. Isn't it? So marriage and being a part of the society, which is moving at fast pace, can be one of the occasions, one of such beautiful occasions for us. To show that when we grow, we also make sure that the other elements of us are also spiritualized and we keep growing. So can I please go to the next slide? Next step. Yeah, now comes the question. Fine. Okay, ma'am, you said marriage has some sense to it. Looks like, let me get married. Who do I marry? Too many questions. Oh my God. When we don't have freedom, what do? We stand on the top of the roof and say, we want freedom. Please give us freedom. We have to take our own decisions. But here now we have to take. We have the freedom. Oh God, there are too many decisions to be taken. I wish somebody else would take the decision. Why? Then I can spend my whole life blaming that person. Remember, you told me to get married. Because of that, my whole life got ruined. You go and tell your dad, you said engineering. I actually was not so good at maths. You told me. So it's so nice, when others take decisions for us. We can spend the whole life blaming them. But my dear friends, that is not enough progress. If you want to progress inwardly, it's you who has to take the responsibility for your decisions, responsibility for your actions. It is you, who has to realize where you will have to go. I'm sorry. And then you reach it. I'll tell you in the small snippet. There is this gentleman, he went to Balaji temple. He said, Balaji is a very generous God. He said, I want 1, 2, 3, I want all these things. And he said, fine, oh, beautiful. Yeah, I am a generous God, I'll give you. But what are you giving me in return? This man thought for a while. He said, Balaji, my neighbor, he has got a lovely crop of hair. I'll shave his head. I'll have his head shaved. What did Balaji say? Oh, really? That's so nice. But all this bounty, I'll give it to your neighbor and not to you. So finally, we have to be the persons who are taking decisions, and we also have to be the persons who follow these decisions. When I say this, I'm not telling you not to listen to your elders. Please take advice from everybody, but ultimately, when you take the decision, this has to be your decision. It's your life. It's the person who you're going to live with. It's even more special. It's even more important. It's going to impact your life. So you have to take the decision. Even if the decision is wrong, let me tell you, if it is your decision, you would have grown inwardly. You have progressed immensely by that decision, rather than someone else take the decision and you keep lamenting, oh no, I shouldn't have done this. What is a failure after all? Your decision may fail. What is a failure after all? Failures can always be converted. Failures can always be wonderful lessons. There is no failure when you have your goal as self-realization, as big as that. So do not have this, feeling that, oh my God, should I take the decision or not? Even in our scriptures, let me tell you, till, a child, until a child is 12, it is the parents who suffer the karma. But after 12, it's the child who has to face his own karma. I mean, that is, I'm just giving it as an example. You know, it is, we face the consequences and we take the decisions and we benefit from the decisions as well. So, my dear friends, ultimately, we have to decide who we are going to marry to. So, okay, who do I marry? Is there a complementary soul, something like a complementary soul? Well, I may in a way disappoint you, but I think it is very rare to find a spiritual partner, psychic partner, to be one in a millennium. And when such a thing happens, because there is no doubt in your mind, you just know this is the person for me, and there is no, any doubts coming. We just go ahead with it. But most of us, let us agree, most of us were still struggling to find out our own inner bearings, to get that inner poise. A relationship is something that has to be worked upon. And yes, it can be worked upon. And that is what we are here to do for. When we say human unity, what do we mean? There is a unity of human beings, and it is we who take it up and who start. And we move towards that unity, isn't it? So the relationship has to be worked upon, can be worked upon into something as glorifying as we all dream looking at the Bollywood movies. So next slide, please.
Jyothi-ji, sorry to interrupt.
Not at all.
Could you go a little slow and maybe a little louder also would be preferred.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Maybe I should bring my laptop a little closer. Okay. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the ancient system. We said that the system is breaking down, and now we are trying to build a new system. The Grihastha ashramas, the 4 ashramas, that's again a wonderful, it's the genius of the rishis which has come up with these 4 ashramas as a system for the evolving human beings. You first have this brahmacharya, where you have this process of education, so nice. The children stay in the Gurukula, with the teacher. They're not at home, so we can keep our TVs on and watch whatever we want. Whatever, that is the brahmacharya. At the end of the brahmacharya, in the brahmacharya, the child is taught everything. They are told about spirituality. They are told about the Grihastha. All these things are intimated to him. And when the brahmacharya finishes, they are given a choice. Do you want to join some ashram and take to a spiritual, life, or do you want to come towards the Grihastha ashram? And yes, I'm sure most of them would choose the Grihastha ashram. And Grihastha ashrama, once again, is not, it's a free for it, where you have all your desires fulfilled. The first thing here you find on my presentation, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the 4-fold fulfillment in life. Kama is the desire. Dharma is the wealth or the means achieving the desire. But above them is artha. Artha is the wealth, which is the means of achieving. Above this is dharma, the law. The law was always there. It's not a licentious. Grihastha is not a licentious behavior. There was a dharma. And what was this dharma leading to? It is preparing you towards moksha. At every turn in the life, when you get married, there are the Vedic, slokas, the rituals which tell you about the divine. Even when you have the so-called first night, you do a puja and you're reminded there is a divine. Please understand that is your ultimate goal. You may be. So the whole Grihastha ashrama is basically a training ground. You're constantly reminded. You may indulge in your, desires. You may indulge in whatever ambitions you have, but please remember there is a cap to it. Ultimately, this is what you're moving in. After Grihastha ashrama, you have Vanaprastha. When parents, they bring the children, they get a little old, the children come and take over the system. You know what these people do? They go away from the family, just outside that town, still within the reach of children, because the children may need some guidance, in undertaking their duties. They go there and they prepare for the next stage. They come out of this, Grihastha ashrama mode, and they start working for their own spiritual growth. They have lived it out, and now they are there. After Vanaprastha, you have Sannyasa ashrama, where they completely give up on all the family, ties and go away into the forests, into the ashramas. And what do? They completely concentrate on the spiritual growth, and it also becomes a preparation for the next birth, which, in our culture, we all do believe in that. And within the Grihastha ashrama, mind you, friends, the wife and husband were always equal. Dharma Patni Sameta. Though the woman, because of certain constraint, was taking care of the house, she was the one who took most of the decisions. It was much later in the conventional age, the system lost its true spirit and this entire domination and all came. Maybe we'll have to move a little faster to the next one. Next slide. Yes, now let's go through what Mother has told us about marriage. It's a very beautiful quotation. She gives it in, in various levels. The first one, I will read it out. See, to unite your physical lives, your material interests, to become partners in order to face together the difficulties and successes, the defeats and victories of life. That is the very foundation of marriage. But you already know that is not enough. What happens when you want to get married? Your parents come, they say, oh, fine, what is the social status of this person? How much money do you have? How much money do I have? Materially, are we on the same plane and not? To a little extent, it matters. My lifestyle matches with the lifestyle of the person who's coming or not. It does matter. Unless if there is something which is beyond it, at a spiritual level, which is binding them. And if unless that happens, these things do matter. They do create some friction. Fine, but that is not enough. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, then after this physical material interest, what happens in your own personality? You have your sensations. You have this aesthetic tastes and enjoyment. It helps when these match. Now, what happens? You go to your shop to buy something. The wife says, oh, look at the vase. It's so beautiful. Husband says, oh, is that beauty? No, 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 don't buy that. Let me go, look at that. I like that. Let's buy that. The husband says, today I want to watch some Avengers movie. And the wife says, no, 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 no. I want to watch some art movie. What happens? So it helps to be same on your aesthetic sense and enjoyment, so that at least, in some of the areas, you can go together. Then the third, next slide, please. Yes, then there is a deeper feeling, which is again a mutual affection which you have for each other, something that helps you to face the blows in life, something, whatever happens, we can still live together peacefully. There is a sense of contentment there. But again, that is not enough. Next level, next one. Next slide, please. To unite your minds, that is your thoughts and your ideas. To give you one more example, well, the husband says, well, I support Narendra Modi. He's the only true leader. I'm giving very mundane examples. And the wife says, no, 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 he's not that. I prefer supporting, Rahul Gandhi or Congress or whatever. Then the husband says, okay, you watch your TV in that room. I will watch my TV in this room. It is very difficult, isn't it, to sustain, a relation like that. So it does help where both of you are able to join your thoughts together and think at the same level of intellectuality. Next slide. But even that is not enough. Next slide. Yes. Beyond all this is the most important, feature. In the depths, at the center, there is a supreme truth of being. That is which gives a permanent direction to our lives. To be one, please read the underlined sentence. To be one in aspiration and ascension, to move forward at the same pace on the same spiritual path. That is the secret of a lasting union. If this union is there, whatever be the differences, it don't matter. You know the story of Savitri and Satyavan? Perhaps most of you know. Savitri, she was brought up, she was the princess of Mathura. She was brought up in a palace. And she goes and falls in love with this man, a woodcutter. He was a prince, but he lost everything. He was a woodcutter in the forest. She lived with him. She married, she went, she took the broom, she swept, she took care of his blind parents. She could do everything, which was a connecting point, the spiritual union. When that is there, nothing else matters. That is the lasting union. All these differences can be patched up because in every difference, in every disharmony, there is a unity when you try to evolve into a higher level of consciousness. Next slide, please. Yes, now that, I hope you all agree with me, is the ideal. That is how we would love our marriage to be like. But how do we achieve that? Are there a few practical tips? Well, let us see if there are certain things perhaps which can help us to reach that level of unity in marriage. Next slide. Yes, the initial days, the most important. First, when you enter this relation, please understand the importance of this relation because this is one relation which is there unto death almost. When I'm talking about marriage and institution, I'm not talking about the live-in relationships which are there for 2 years, 3 years, changing partners. I'm talking about a journey which is there till the end, which can sustain us with proper inner development, towards till the end can be. So for that, you need to lay a foundation. You need to understand the value of this relation. And that foundation has to be based on what? Love. Like I'm sure in previous talks, you saw the various levels of love. One basic level is compassion for the other person. You understand, even if the other person throws a coffee cup on your face, God forbid. Excuse me, that is an extreme thing. But you can always try to go, what is prompting this person to behave in such a way? Is it some way my behavior? Is it something in the person? Let me be compassionate. Let me understand the person and let me help the person overcome his or her own limitation and evolve into something better. Trust. You have to, this person has come to be my companion, not my partner in bed. Sorry, my rival in bed, my enemy in bed. No, you have to start with trust and you have to build that trust. And third is mutual aspiration for inner progress, because we are not talking about a happiness where, oh, I have a nice wife, children, house and everything. This, the yoga dharma is to keep on progressing inwardly. So this also has to be mutual aspiration, where both of you come together and say, yes, this is the inner progress. Let us join this aspiration and proceed on our journey. So that is the foundation we'll have to work upon. And after that, you see communication through silent understanding. This also refers to the initial days of marriage. You're new to the person. Even if you know the person for a long time, you've been dating and then you get married, I'm sure something will prop up which is not up to your liking, or something you do which the other person starts doubting. Keep the communication clear. Keep the motive of why you are doing that clear to the other person, man or woman. Generally, in our society, men have this tendency. They say, she's supposed to understand, she's my wife and I do this, I do it because I know. No, but I think in the initial days, you need to work on you need to explain. There not be in too many words. It can be in just one word. It can be through a few gestures, but make it clear. When I do this, this is my motive. I'm doing it for this sake. There may be another person for which you're giving a lot of importance or respect. Then you have to experience. You see, when the man and woman come together, they've taken this oath to go till the end on this journey. So I think it's but your duty to be very clear in your own mind and tell her, you see, this is why I'm doing this, explain it. And when you have this communication in the beginning, the relationship will develop into a level where you need no verbal communication. There is a silent understanding where the spouse, man or woman, understands, if my husband or wife did something, I'm sure there is something to it. He knows what he's doing, she knows. So that level of trust has to be worked upon. Don't expect things to just fall into place just like that. When everything is, hunky-dory, there is no progress happening. The very fact that you want to grow inwardly, expect challenges. Each challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow into your vaster self. Next slide, please. Yes, you see, both now, there is a new dynamics which is happening. Here we have come into now the present era where the woman is equally educated. The woman also is having ambitions where she wants to go and pursue a career perhaps. Both of them are on an equal plane. Both are the souls which are evolving, which have come onto this earth for certain experience, so that the soul, look at the soul that has to evolve. But again, both are different. She has a different swabhava and he has a different swabhava. And it takes time for you to come together to a consensus. Something you have to work upon and say, okay, together, let's take a single path. Even if that is not happening because of the new dynamics, I think if you have that inner mutual, trust in each other, you can still go on. I know many families where the man is taking care of the house. This is, like I said, it's the new dynamics which is happening, especially in America, but I think it's happening in India too. According to his own swabhava, he is taking care of the house and the children, but the woman goes. She has been educated. She has her own, ambitions which she wants to live, and she goes out. And there are situations where a man, after working, especially in the IT field for a few years, he wants to stay back. These days, they want to go into farming. And I know the women who happily cooperate with the man and go with the man. It's both ways. The dynamics have changed, and we have to keep this in our mind. And if you look at the next point, it says, keep your space and give space. You may be trying to come together and grow together, but there is a certain level where both of you need that space to be given. And this can be a physical space also, in the sense when you are maybe a little disturbed, when there is a conflict, there is a place where you can go sit and meditate upon yourself, do your own study, come out of that conflict, come out of that inconvenience, and get the things going back. It can be that distance at times also helps. Don't start breathing down the neck of your spouse, whoever it is. Why are you doing? Start indoctrinating, do this, do that. Give them the space, even if they are making a mistake, they will realize and come out of it. You don't necessarily have to give a lesson. Now, can I put a question here? Okay. Would you, here there is a request, okay. Yes, perhaps the participants can start posting their questions, towards the end of it, we can take the questions. Can we please go to the next slide? This is what is the most important, as we said, mutual aspiration for inner progress. But how do you get that? I would suggest one way is, towards the end of the day, or maybe once in a week, both of you sit and take out a scripture, Bhagavad Gita, start reading it and try to understand it together. Okay, where, if the man is lagging behind, the woman can explain. Women generally have an intuition in these matters. Or if the woman, because she didn't have the practical exposure, is not able to understand, let the man explain. So let it be a, something which you want to read, understand, and grow together. And please don't have a tutu meme here also. The man thinks, how come I'm the man, I'm supposed to understand it better? How come she's trying to dominate me? Please don't do that. Generally, in a conventional setup, the tendency of the man is to dominate and to be possessive. And the women, and I'm sure all the women here agree with me, women generally think men have their brains in their knees. So these are our old sanskaras. Let us start working out of them and understand that we are here on an equal plane, and let us help each other in understanding what it is. And what is a beautiful experience it is when you have a companion, together you're trying to grow inwards, and from that mutual aspiration you bring your children out. And these children who come out of that pure aspiration definitely belong to the future. This dynamics is also changing now. The parent-children relationship, it's no more the parent, the authoritative figure, but the parent grows along with the child. That's another beautiful, thing which is emerging from all this debris of the systems breaking down. The new creation, the new world, which is so beautifully emerging. Along with the relationship between the man and woman, it is also the relationship between the parent and the child. Yeah, next slide, please. Yes, let me go. This is the last slide. Yeah, whenever there is a conflict, please work towards building up, towards love. When the conflict is there, don't say, oh, no, okay, we have nothing to, no, you are different, I'm different, you go your way, my way. No, that's not what it should be. We should be working towards harmony and love. And the next point is, excuse me, I'm rushing up because I think I've taken more time. The right attitude changes circumstances. There is mother's quotation over there. The right attitude is the highest attitude possible. You can absolutely sure that in that case, it is the best that can happen to you. You are completely in the presence of divinity. That is in a sense of an offering to a divinity. When the divinity takes over what is happening in your life, I've seen this happen. I've seen women, because of this perseverance and attitude, they've completely changed men who are very indifferent, very, out of the system. They bring them back into the system and they bring the change in them. In our own stories, we have the story of Kalidasa, don't we? Who has a prayer and an aspiration completely changes a human being. And yes, so that's then after that, yeah, can I go to the next slide? That is, I just want to read that quotation of Savitri and Satyavan, especially the three lines in the color. Please read them. Came into a new self and a new world. The moment they came together, they embraced, and now they parted. They became a part of a larger unity. She went to the palace to take the consent of her parents, but she knew that she's one with this man. Into a new self and a new world. The new journey starts from there. Each now is a part of the other's unity. The world was but their twin self-finding scene. So together they start exploring. When you're alone, it's you alone. You are exploring with the divine. Now you have a companion whose help you can, on whom you can fall back and move ahead. So thank you so much. With that, I put my brakes. And yes.
One second. I'm just muting. So I'll be posing the questions next, Jyothi ma'am. Yeah, these are the questions that we have. Number one, you have talked about degradation of idea of marriage. What is the relevance of current institution of marriage as is?
Yes, that is what we dwelt with. Now, what is the relevance? The relevance is, as we spoke in the beginning, one of the reasons is when you want to grow spiritually and when you're still not at over there, you would like to have a system which acts as a safety net for you for your process of purification. That's where marriage comes as a support. And also, why it is also because you are a part of a collective. You cannot run away from life. And marriage helps you to stay within the field and transform yourself and transform also the processes which are going around you into something deeper. And let me tell you, marriage is not necessary. That has been taken. You see, I'm not saying there are people without marriage also have been evolving, but for the large majority of us who still would like to have a variety of experiences, marriage definitely is comes in handy, and it is a system which has been which has been evolving and changing according to the needs of the man and women changing, and you can bring the necessary changes and still go ahead in this institution. And it is again a personal choice whether you want to get married or not. Let me take 1 minute, to tell you a story. There is this man, this Buddhist monk. I love these stories because you see, ours is a storytelling culture. We teach through the stories because that's the best way to learn. There is this Buddhist monk who's living in a house. He's a monk. And exactly in the opposite house, you have this prostitute living. Both of them, they lived their life and they died. And once they died, what happened? The celestial angels, whatever they came, and the Buddhist monk was taken to the to the hell, and the prostitutes was taken to the heaven, and the monk was obviously very upset. He said, what is happening? And they said, look, man, you are there as a monk, but you are always looking at the opposite side, at the prostitute. What is she doing? Why is she doing that? You know, and why? Whereas the prostitute is always looking at you and admiring you for being a monk. She said, oh, what a life you have, but look at that man. He's doing such, he has such a wonderful, divine life. So you don't, and after some years, if you decide not to get married, and after a few years, you start looking and thinking, oh, what did I miss? It's so beautiful. I know people have joined ashrams. A couple of them, they say, oh, what are we doing here? Ah, I see my brother, he's married, he has children. That is what life is. And you start repenting it, and your progress stops, isn't it? So to avoid that situation, marriage can come in handy. Nothing is an absolute rule. It is an individual choice.
Okay.
Don't repent it later on. When the nature comes back, when some of these, we have the sanskaras in our subconscious which keep coming up, and taking hold of us. And don't be thrown away, unaware. At that stage, don't start repenting like that monk in Samsara movie. It's basically for that.
Sure. Sure, ma'am.
And one more thing is, I'm so sorry. And one more thing is, when you marry, you're working towards unity. You see, if you're not able to get along with one human being who's taking part of your life, what human unity are we talking about? What collectivity are we talking about? So it is an opportunity for us, to move towards this higher unity. You bring another person also into the spiritual fold and work. And well, somebody said, you would like to get married for the next generation. You ensure that the next generation also is brought out on a higher plane, with a better consciousness.
Sure. Got it. Next question is by a Zoom participant. Thank you for the session, ma'am. My parents are really worried for my marriage and proposing suitors, but I'm unable to find anyone who has spiritual aspiration. What should I do, ma'am? Should I go ahead with the marriage just because it is what the society demands? I'm 29. How should I find someone with a spiritual aspiration?
Yes. You see, to begin with, if your parents are saying get married, like I said in the beginning, take time and understand your own needs and wants. Where is it that you want to go? What is the progress? Make a little study, take some time. What is the life you want to lead? Then after that, when you look for somebody who you want to marry, I think these days you have the freedom to sit and talk. I know that does not give the complete picture about the person entering your life, but let me tell you, there have been several instances where within arranged marriages also people have developed that respect and affection towards each other. And maybe what you can do is you can meet the person once before marriage, tell her the broad aspirations you have in your life, and see to some extent there is some matching happening, and then go ahead and marry, and differences will always happen. I know people who are on the same spiritual path. I know people who have been in the ashram and they got married and they got divorced. So there is no complementary or perfect soul. Somewhere you need to look within yourself. You have to take a call, decide, look at the person, talk to the person. There is some level of comfort you're able to see. Please go ahead and get married. There is, unless you think I am decided I don't want marriage, then maybe you have to sit and talk to your parents and convince them. But otherwise, please go ahead. I'm sure most of us, we would like to have that experience. There's nothing wrong about it. And within that, try to bring the other person onto your plane, more coercing, through love, through trust, understanding that the other person is different from you, giving her space, and start evolving.
Sure. Thanks. Next one is that do we really need marriage? Should be as a tagline to stay together with any person?
Not necessarily. But then, like I said, it's an individual choice. If you feel the need in you for a companionship, I am somebody, perhaps I prefer a marriage as an institution than a live-in relationship which is changing which is very mercurial. Every 2 years, you keep changing your partner. That is, and for me, it is instability. It is a licentious behavior. Maybe you're also cheating on the other person. You live with the person for 2 to 3 years, then somewhere you feel, no, 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 I am not happy with it. Let's depart and go. I think that's very licentious. And as a person, somebody who's like to be who thinks that inner progress is the most important one. When you want to get into companionship, by all means, I think if you can find somebody with whom you are compatible and look forward to a lasting relationship, it becomes easy when you have a challenge with a person. You're supposed to overcome the challenge. I'll give you one more example. A very close friend of mine, she got married, and the very first 2 to 3 months, she said, no, 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 this is not my partner. She got divorced. After a few years, she got married, and to her shock, she realized she faced the same set of problems which she faced in the first marriage. So change has to be not in the circumstance or the situation. The change has to come within us. We should grow to a level where we are able to take another person into our life. We have to change. We have to accommodate the person, and it can be done with your inner progressing very swiftly and beautifully if you do it with the right aspiration. There need not be a setback to it at all.
Sure. Next question is not marriage an obstacle in spiritual growth? The divine knows what is the best for you. And how do I know what is the best for me?
Yes. You see, well, inner progress spirituality is where you are handing your responsibility to the divine. You would like the divine definitely to take decisions for your life. If you are convinced that not to marry is what the divine decision for me, and you feel that you have the sufficient strength, you can go ahead with it. But otherwise, I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question? Sorry about it.
Sure. Is not marriage an obstacle in the spiritual
Obstacle.
growth?
Okay.
Yeah.
You see,
The divine.
it once again, depends on the attitude you take. I gave you the example of Socrates, who had a very nagging, wife, and he could still continue being a philosopher and being very kind to her. Maybe those are different times, different situations. But even now, if you have the right attitude, and more important, if there is a part in you which wants to have the experience for marriage, it need not be an obstacle. You can work towards your inner progress. In fact, it may help you because it becomes a barometer, it becomes a measure, a touchstone to tell you whether you have progressed or not, whether you're able to pass on that unconditional love towards people around you or not. So it can become a touchstone. Need not necessarily be, but if you're convinced that you think, I don't need it at all, the choice is yours. But don't repent. Don't say, this is something I missed out once you go ahead. And don't become a dependent and don't start looking for support outside. Once you've decided to be alone, you should be able to completely depend within for the solutions for all your problems. Don't look for a shoulder to cry on. It's your call to be alone. It's between you and the divine, definitely. But you can see to it that marriage need not be an obstacle. Most of the obstacles are here, not outside. It's there. You make a shift in your perspective, and you can transcend.
Sure. The next question is, mostly we fix marriage on basis of Kundli. Is it right or worth?
That's again a million-dollar question. About this horoscopes, let me tell you. Astrology or horoscopes, it is a psychic science. There is a little bit of truth about it. What horoscopes tell is they give you the tendencies of our nature and the possibilities and the probabilities that could happen. And the one thing that is really can overcome these, whatever is said in the Kundalini, what is the higher, the supreme consciousness or the divine grace. N number of instances are there to show, how, people have overcome, this, there are people for whom the horoscope does not apply because they've transcended it. But supposing you've decided to get married to somebody and then you still think, okay, just let me have the Kundalini or horoscopes checked. And the Kundalini tells you it's not matching. You're strong in your faith. You know you love the person. Please go ahead with it. Generally, what happens in this case is a fear starts creeping into you, and that spoils the relation. Oh, that man said in the horoscope, this is not working. So anything that happens in future, that comes back. Oh, perhaps what he said is right. Maybe this is not the person. Maybe this is not going to work. So we bring in what we fear, we attract it. It's like the coronavirus, these viruses, you fear and it's next to you. You stand up to it. It's, your health is something, the stronger you feel for yourself, the better you stand. So this horoscope matching from my own experience is something like that. But if you love the person, I would suggest don't look at the horoscopes. Go ahead with it. Even if something happens and you're not together, that experience itself would have helped you a lot. And that is what ultimately matters, your progress through all these experiences.
Sure, ma'am. Next question is, the mother told persons to marry and denied others to marry. How to decide what is the best for you, whether to marry or not?
This has to be an individual call. That's what I said. You have to take your own decisions. Unless you have a guru who's able to completely map out and see your future and give you the decisions, it may be a risk involved. But you have to make a study of your own self and you have to take a call. When mother was here, people offered to her. They said, Mother, you take a decision. You know what she said? When you come to me and when you tell me to take a decision, make sure that you do not have a decision already made in your mind. Because if what I say is different from what you have in your mind, you are going to suffer. When you come to me, come with an open mind. Whatever mother says, I follow it. So that is how they approached. And depending upon their need, mother understood them, more than themselves. So she told this person needed the experience of the marriage, this person. But in our sake, you can talk to n number of people, they will tell you Delhi, some will say Delhi Laddu, some will say something else. But ultimately, you take the decision and go ahead. Even if it felt, so what? You have taken the decision at that moment with whatever information about yourself and your life you have. It is a decision which all of us, there is no cut and paste and copy and paste. Oh, that person, he did it. Maybe if I do that, it will be the same experience. Let us not fall into that trap. You have to take your own call. It's between you and your life and the divine on the top. You have to take your call. Or give it up and wait for the answer to come. You ask mother, even now mother is there giving answers. Tell mother, I'm not able to decide, but I'll follow. But make sure you've already not taken a decision. If you have taken a decision, please go and marry. It will not disturb your spiritual life. That much I can tell you. If you have both ways and think, oh, what will happen to my spirituality? Please get married. Nothing will happen. The spiritual life will be there. It is better that way than the other way. So you see, you have to take a call. It's your decision. It's your life. It's your progress.
Sure. Next question. Is it true that the right person will always find a way, or there are chances that due to some circumstances, we might miss them?
Well, what is this right person? Let us be very clear. And let us be very clear. Even if you think that somebody is the right person, you saw him first impression, you fell in love and you got married. Even then, let me tell you, friends, there will be conflicts arising because the very nature of conflict is make sure that you break out of your ego and move something higher. Conflicts, the very purpose of life is that you face the conflicts, you face the challenges, because as you overcome them, you grow in your consciousness. This whole thing about, Dil to pagal hai, right, Mr. Right somewhere on a Valentine's Day, she'll come and say hi to me. It is, I think, more romanticization going into it. And okay, supposing there is a right person for you, and if your aspiration is stable, that you need to have the right person, the person will come your way. Yes, keep your aspiration. Generally, what happens with us is we want this, then again we doubt, oh, will it happen? Will it not? Maybe then yes, that can be one reason where we miss the opportunities. Because, we start doubting ourselves. Don't doubt. Let the aspiration, whatever it is, be, straight and persevere, be constant. And let me tell you, what is it? The right person doesn't come with a band saying, I'm right for you. You will have to work it out ultimately. And this, when I spoke about inner progress, that false subjectivity and true subjectivity, because both are within, we tend to get carried away. Oh, it's okay, I think this is fine, that is fine. Oh, this person, she's looking beautiful. She must be the right person for me. Let me go. We tend to cheat our own self unless we are brutally honest with ourselves. We need to be a little brutal with ourselves. Otherwise, there is something called rationalization. The mind, it takes a very convenient path, So we'll have to be very clear in our minds about these things.
We are extending a little, but it's okay. I think there are one or two more questions. Yeah. So the next question is, if I'm in a relationship with a boy, and the society is not thinking right about it, but I am in love with the same person. But however, I also have spent very little time with the person and little time with them. So how can I be so sure about it? And how can I believe that it is going to be my whole life and there is going to be a relationship with them? But how to come out of this conundrum?
No, it is a little not clear to me. She is in love with the person.
Correct.
And she wants
other person, yeah. So maybe she wants to marry or be in a relationship.
Okay. But and she wants to know that is the right relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, like I said, this love, what we mean that, I'm in love with the person, there is no true love between two human beings. There is always 1% or 2% or 10%. It's obviously more than that, which happens, which creeps into it. So be very careful at what is it in you that is getting attracted to that man. Are you really convinced, somewhere within yourself? Okay, so how do you come to that decision? It is you yourself who can do it. Sit with the person, talk to the person more, well, if you have done all those things, take a call. At some stage you need to take a call. If on a scale of 10, if you think there are 6 or 7 which are matching and you're comfortable, and more important, give importance to your inner progress. It's not enough, like I said, the mother's quotation. Don't just get carried away. He is rich, he is earning, he will take care of me. Tomorrow there may be an accident, he may break his leg. Then you have to be the bread earner for the family. Don't look, what are you looking at when you say that I want to live with this person? What are you looking at? Is there something a little more deeper than all these things? Whatever happens tomorrow, I'm going to live with this person. You have to, it is future we are talking about. It is a possibility we are talking about. We have to take care. There is an amount, an amount of risk involved. You have to take a call. And you have to stick on, move forward. Don't think if I dump this person and go to the other person, you may land up thinking, the known devil is better than the unknown devil. It can also be like that. But once again, how has the relationship been all these 2 years? Were you really comfortable in a deeper sense of inner progress? Not because he has money, he takes care of me. All this can be very temporary. But is there, are you able to, have that inner progress sustain you throughout? That I would say should be, the main essence of a relationship. Whether are you able to experience, some higher consciousness, something lightening, something, a positive energy coming to you from that person? Or is he only, nitpicking every day? Why are you like that? Why are you like this? You could have been like this. Please, so much of negative energy, don't get into it. Unless you think you can convert that negative energy into something positive. So you will have to test it on your own self and take a call in it.
Sure. The next question is, what should be done? Difference of consciousness between two partners?
Difference of consciousness. Okay, but what do we mean? What do we mean by consciousness? If there is a difference of consciousness, but if there is something called a mutual aspiration or that compassion, which we can broadly call as love for the other person, you can definitely together work it out. You can help, you can maybe, halt your progress for some time, help the other person to raise your level, or, you can keep growing and help the other person also to grow. If you have that mutual consent, these differences, today there are differences. Will the differences be there tomorrow? We grow at different paces at different times. So these things, can always be worked upon, considering that there is something, that has brought you together, which is both of you to, have that commitment towards each other. Once you have that, yes, I think these things can be worked upon.
Sure. And this is the last question. This is, ma'am, how to identify between psychic love and spiritual love?
This is something I've also asked a lot of people in the ashram in the beginning, about 25 years back. I said, what is this psychic? What all those people tell me? They said, if you have experienced it, you won't question me. You know what is psychic. Well, to put it broadly, psychic is basically an attraction to the divine. When you realize the same divinity in the other person and you get attracted to it, like I would say the Meera and Krishna, if you say, that, her own psychic love for Krishna. It can be for another person who is also psychically evolved. That psychic is basically the attraction towards the divine, the love towards the divine. If there is the same psychic in the other person, maybe the psychic in you is getting attracted to that psychic, but there is a lot of purity in this psychic. We most often we get confused between vital love and a psychic love. Just be very careful. Vital love also brings tears into your eyes, but that is a very superficial love, which has an iota of selfishness in it. Psychic love is just pure. You don't even have to question. You just, that's liberating. When you experience it, you have that sense of liberation. Another example I keep giving for this psychic is, I do not know how many of you have been to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Pondicherry. When you sit near that, that samadhi, many times, I've said this before to some people, you find it very difficult to pull yourself away from the samadhi. It is the psychic in you which is getting attracted to the divine which is present over there. You sit there for hours. You find it difficult to pull yourself away from it. It's like a magnet, the divinity pulling towards it. So that broadly we can say as psychic, but you will have to experience it within your own self.
Sure, ma'am. Before we go on, I would like to tell connection with. Yeah, ma'am. So over to Rahul to take us to the next section of the whole section. Yeah.
Rahul doesn't have any doubts. He had lots of them yesterday.
I think a lot of them were covered. So
I don't mind a personal chat if you think it's going to help.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sharing the feedback link here for everyone. So we'll take a minute to fill the feedbacks.
Kanika, separate fee through email. We'll take it up to email positively.
Okay, so to summarize, we looked at, we started with inner progress and we understood that it is through self-awareness and self-mastery that inner progress is done. Then we looked at why we would want to marry and then whom we would marry. Then we also looked at the four-fold fulfillments which are mentioned in the Grihastha ashram, the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and the beautiful quote given by the mother for couples. Um, so we would be sharing these in the summary email. You can have a look at that. And of course, at the end, we had practical tips, which I think would really help us all. So thanks a lot, Jyothi-ji, for this wonderful session.
I hope
Um,
it's a well spent 90 minutes for you all. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful sharing my thoughts with you.